Bitcoin does look a little bearish. I'm going to explain what I think is going to end up happening, where I want to be greedy for a price to drop lower in Bitcoin. We're going to take a look at what is going on with altcoins as well. Altcoin season is upon us. We're going to take a look at everything all together. All right, so without further ado, let's get started with the video. All right, first and foremost, this is a weekly time frame of Bitcoin. And what we're going to do, very, very simply, is look at what happens when the weekly time frame MACD crosses above on Bitcoin. So first and foremost, you could see that this occurred back in July 2022. What happened afterward? We went from 21 to 25,000. So this was obviously very, very bullish. The next time this ended up happening, we ended up rallying very dramatically. We went from 15. This was the low when the MACD indicator crossed. This was the most recent low back when I was begging people to buy into crypto. We rallied up almost 100%. Then it occurred again, especially predominantly back in October, and this led to another big rally to the upside. And then most recently it occurred back in September. So what essentially happens every single time the weekly MACD indicator crosses above, things are very, very bullish. What's happening right now, though? The MACD indicator is crossing below, and we are stagnating at highs here. Is this a time where you would want to be aggressively long on Bitcoin? Absolutely not. When you look at this from a risk-reward standpoint, where would you rather be a bull? Would you rather be a bull closer to the 70s, 80s, or would you rather be a bull into 100,000? When every mainstream person, when people that are not even following crypto are like, oh my God, Bitcoin's at 100, should I buy in? Bitcoin being at 100 is the equivalent of Bitcoin at 20,000 a few years ago. When Bitcoin was at 20,000, oh my God, it's at 20, should I buy? It's like the same sort of feeling with Bitcoin at 100, okay? So don't make the same mistake over and over. Once again, it makes sense to be a bit cautious, be a bit greedy for when you want to enter long, okay? So let's just zoom in on this on a smaller time frame. So number one, this is a very ugly sort of situation that we have here. This is clearly a bear flag, okay? And as you know, bear flags are generally bearish setups. They tend to break down lower. So if this bear flag breaks down lower, all you simply need to do is take the flagpole and put that at the either upper or the lower end of the flag, and technically you get a downward target. Either way, the downward target breaches below 90,000 into the upper 80s, okay? Now, once again, you can easily, we could see this level of support hold. This would be a very, very aggressive longing opportunity, in my opinion. It could definitely work, though, but I would rather be greedy, wait for a pullback lower. The reason for that is also because the bearish momentum that we currently have. If you make a fib level from the most recent highs to the most recent lows, you can see that we're trading below the 23.6% fib. We closed below it. These next few days are going to be very, very important to see whether the downward momentum can continue. You can see that recently, right? The 50% fib over here at 100,243 failed. We were trying to break above it multiple times, but it ended up failing. And this is not the most bullish sign. And now we've closed not only below the 38.2, we've also closed below the 23.6. Yes, we can easily chop around. Things can stagnate a bit. We could find a bottom, but instead of trying to catch, so I'm going to explain why, right? We're going to look at what's going on with altcoins. But currently, based off of what's also going on with altcoins, instead of trying to catch a bottom on Bitcoin and getting in early, right? I would rather get in early on the altcoins and wait for a pullback on Bitcoin, in my opinion. That's just that. But there are bullish things going on with Bitcoin. You cannot disregard that. I'm just very greedy. It is what it is. Let me go ahead and explain to you guys some bullish things that are going on with Bitcoin first before we take a look at altcoins. All right, so what I want to show you guys is the Williams VIX fix indicator. This is not a guarantee that this is a bottom, right? So what we're seeing right now is multiple green candles here. That's generally bullish, okay? We're looking at the daily time frame. Generally, it is bullish, but it doesn't mean you can't break down lower before continuing higher. And let me explain when that's essentially occurred before. So it has occurred back in right here in June. Okay, so in June, you could see that the VIX, the Williams VIX fix indicator was showing some buying. Okay, we were stagnating. Not really a similar situation, but we were stagnating here. Got some buys, right? What ended up happening? We made another low. This extra low would be beautiful if we can end up getting that right now, because we got some buys. Great, we're stagnating. It would be fantastic if we got another low into the upper 80s, and then that's another point where we got some buys, and then we ended up rallying. So this indicator actually does a lot better on the weekly time frame than it does on the daily. So currently, actually on the weekly time frame, we're not getting any buys. On the weekly time frame a few weeks ago in June, this was giving multiple buys. So it works very, very well on the weekly time frame. On the daily, it's more loose. Does that make sense? So currently, we're not getting anything on the weekly. The weekly MACD is crossing down lower. So that's not immediately very, very good. When you're looking at the MACD on a daily time frame as well here, you could see that the slow acting MACD line, which is this orange line, is curved lower, and the fast acting MACD line is also curved lower. The only way that the slow acting MACD line is going to cross back above zero, which is essentially shows bullish momentum. The only way that's going to happen is if this fast acting MACD line starts to rip above. And we need to see some real strength out of the price of Bitcoin. We need to see it break above 102,000 relatively quickly. The reason why, I mean, I don't mind if it goes up. But the reason why I'm a bit hesitant is because these altcoins are doing pretty well. And here's a few of them. Okay, so let's take this one step at a time. What we're currently looking at right now is ETH BTC. So ETH over BTC, okay? If ETH and altcoins essentially do well, this price that we have right now will start to bounce, okay? Right now, ETH and altcoins are underperforming compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is at highs. What we're seeing right now on ETH BTC, on the weekly time frame that we have right now, is things are starting to get very, very coiled. When things get coiled like this, there's a high probability that things like this will end up bouncing. Now, going back to my argument, what happens when this starts to bounce? Let me show you. Very simply, we're going to put a chart of Bitcoin on top of this. So you're going to see what happens when ETH BTC crosses and starts to do bullish, and what happens to Bitcoin, okay? So very, very simply, as you can see here, when this ETH BTC starts to do well, Bitcoin's in the red. What happens to Bitcoin? Bitcoin starts to fall. When ETH BTC starts to do well right here, what happens? Bitcoin starts to fall. ETH BTC starts to do well right here, right? What ends up happening? Bitcoin starts to fall. Same concept. Very, very same concept. Except right now, what is going on with Bitcoin? Bitcoin is at an all-time high. ETH BTC is creating an enormous falling wedge. A lot of these altcoins are creating falling wedges and creating downtrends that very simply, once they start breaking above, similar to what you're seeing right now in Solana, what you're seeing in AMD even, a lot of these stocks have downtrends. Once broken above, ETH BTC is going to be doing very, very well. Altcoins are going to be doing very, very well, which has never been a good sign for Bitcoin. Okay, so let's just go right back into this. so that we could see exactly like why this is also very, very bullish for ETH BTC, is because you can see the sheer amount of buying signals on the weekly that you're getting out of the VIX, the Williams VIX fix. Okay, last few times this occurred, this marked a very, very good bottom back in June. Okay, this it's not perfect, right? I'm not saying it's perfect, but it really, really worked very, very well after big drops. So after a big drop in June, it worked very, very well. After a big drop from August into November, we got multiple buys, and this just skyrocketed. Okay, so we're getting a lot currently. This is a lot of them here. Bitcoin is making a bear flag. Alt season, in my opinion, is almost upon us, and this is starting to coil. A falling wedge, falling wedges, guys, are very, very bullish patterns. We're creating a falling wedge. This is as falling of a falling wedge as you can make it. And truly, this is going to, if anything, this is, it just makes our trading so much easier, so that we know exactly what's going on. Look how tight and beautiful this is going to end up being. Falling wedges are very, very bullish patterns. We're at a level of support. This is showing a lot of weakness already. We're getting multiple buy signals on the ETH BTC. Bitcoin is showing weakness. Many, many confluences that are showing a potential rip to the upside in these altcoins, which is also not going to be very bullish for Bitcoin. So I hope this makes sense. And yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure to subscribe. Take care. Have a good one.